Welcome to North of 60. I'm Heidi Schweighofer. Today we're going to meet and talk with Jennifer McKinley. Jennifer is the Hudson Community Resource Coordinator. I've been able to get to know her a little bit in the last couple of months. She's new to this position, and I think it's a position that you need to know about. Jennifer received her bachelor's degree at U of Akron, my daughter's school, by the way, and then worked for Progressive Insurance in a variety of positions for almost 15 and a half, 16 years. Then it's time to raise a family, and during that time, she did probably more volunteer jobs than any list I have ever seen. So an enormous number of volunteer things. And then ended up here as the Community Resource Coordinator in Hudson with a job that is working with people who are in need of assistance and with the senior community. And that's how I've started working a little bit with Jennifer. So with that being said, thank you for coming,
You're
kiddo.
welcome. You're welcome.
Jennifer,
Excited to be here.
you have a huge, I couldn't believe your volunteer list. How'd you get this job, this particular Community Resource Coordinator position?
Sure. Well, I have, as you have said, I've been actively volunteering with the Hudson Community Service Association for the past 11 years. I started after Mary Lou Morris had passed away, and we needed to come together and
I
create.
remember that name.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So I helped and was on the committees to, work with the other committee members to create processes and procedures for the food pantry, the Hudson Food Pantry we have here, and also Hudson Community Service Association Helping Hands. And I have been the chairperson of Helping Hands for the past 10 years.
My gosh.
And in the volunteer role, I worked very closely with the prior community resource coordinator. So I learned from her and volunteering and other mentors, basically what our city is looking for and the needs. So when the position came available, I applied, and I was asked to apply and got the job. So I'm very excited, yes.
What's your link with the Hudson Ministerial Association?
So the Hudson Ministerial Association is who I report to.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah, so Hudson Community Service Association is a volunteer organization, which we also worked very closely with the Hudson Ministerial Association, and when the role became available through them, that's when I was asked to apply. So I report up through them. And what the Hudson Ministerial Association is, it's a group of places of worship in Hudson. They're pastors and rabbis and priests, and they all get together and try to figure out how can we help people in need in Hudson.
All right, that's the link between you and them.
Yes.
Now, what do you do? Tell me on an average day what you do.
Well, I would say that basically I serve as a liaison between people that are in need of anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be a financial need. It could be a need looking for a resource for, maybe it has to do with Medicare. Now, I'm not any type of Medicare expert, but
no one's a Medicare
expert. Right.
expert.
So they might call me, and I can give them knowledge of what I know of, and give them a contact so they can ask their questions to that person. So basically, I'm a liaison that people are looking or having a need, and I pair them with what that, how to fill that void in their life.
Jennifer, can the needs be something as, I guess I want to call it minor, maybe it's not, but as I need transportation on a weekly basis to the doctor, or my house is in disrepair and I need someone and I can't afford a handyman.
Right. It's a variety of needs. I've had clients that asked me to come and they needed help with transportation, someone to sit with. I had a couple that the husband was hard mobily to move around, and the wife didn't have any in-home care. So she was looking for what do I do if I have to go to my doctor's appointment? How can I leave my
store?
Yes. So I was able to sign them up for the Are You OK program.
I know who you're talking about.
Yes, and just check in. I had another situation of a woman who was homebound, and she needed someone to bring her meals. So just recently, I signed her up for a meal program that they have in Summit County. So she's able to get meals delivered for her for dinner every night. So it's all different types of things. I also work with the code inspector of Hudson. So.
Oh.
Yes, so that was recently I just met him.
Tell me about that. That's interesting.
Yes.
What do you do?
So, well, he goes out and he'll say there's an issue with somebody's fence. He might cite them with a violation. And then what we're building is here, we just started this, is that he will then give them my card and ask them to reach out to me. And I am in the process of compiling a list of just different handy people that have been, their names I've worked with in the past, or their names have been given to me, and then all I would do is give that person their name. And then they have somebody that I feel, or people that I've worked with that's given me that person's name, trustworthy, and then it's between the client and the person, the handy person, to work that out.
You're not necessarily vetting the handyman by saying this person is for sure perfect, but you're saying these are like we would do with neighbors.
Just exactly right. It's just, who have you used?
Right.
Who do you feel comfortable going into, your parents' house or your mother's house who's alone, and it's just word of mouth type of things. I'm not advertising anybody, or but it's just. I feel that people, when they're in that situation, they might have a really difficult time. Like, what do I do now? How do I wrap my head around now I have to get a fence repaired? I don't know where to turn. So I'm looking to say, well, here's a start for you. Here's a start of somebody that you can look into. And then all they have to do is make a phone call. So trying to lessen the burden. Usually when it's that type of situation, there's a lot of other things going on in the family, and the outside yard is the last thing they're worrying about. So
and I wonder if sometimes that could be what's happening inside too, if the inside is in disrepair. And does the code inspector go inside in a situation like that? I'm just curious.
In this type of situation, he does not. I specifically asked him, he's more concerned about, or what it really is the outside of the home. Okay. So, or if you were, you would need to get his approval for doing windows or something like that. But him and the others here in the city will drive around to their wards, and they might just double check to see if everybody's following code.
Oh, okay.
Or it could be that someone complained and there's an issue that way. So I'm really excited about that relationship.
I am too.
I'm hoping to reach out to more seniors that way. And
I think it'd be nice to get that word out.
Yes.
I will remember to this day, my parents were in their late 80s, maybe even early 90s, and a huge storm happened in Michigan.
Right.
And a tree fell, hit the roof, actually went through the roof right into their living room.
Oh my goodness.
And my father had, he didn't even know where to begin.
Right.
And nor did my sister and I. I mean, you don't expect things like that.
You don't.
So,
and then the trauma. I mean, just that you're
having then all these people come over, and
there's a roof, there's a tree in your family room. What do I do now?
Exactly.
So
I'm happy to hear about that.
Yes.
I'll have to talk to you about another thing I've been hearing about related to list of handymen.
Oh, okay, good.
All right, let's get back to now. What takes up most of your time? What is the population generically that you serve?
Sure.
And what part of that is, say, over 60? Okay.
Well, some of the research that I did on people over 60 in Hudson, There's nothing really specific out there. I've seen 15% to 23% of people living over 60 in Hudson. So that's all I was able to find with that. And people in need in Hudson, kids that are on free and reduced lunch type of things, that type of situation. We're about a 5% poverty rate here in Hudson. So we do have people that are in need. It's very difficult for our families here sometimes to reach out because there could be a situation where they never had to reach out before.
Have you seen a change since COVID?
Yes, I have. I've seen a change of how people are, may have lost their job, had to do, maybe they were on COBRA, and that's becoming expensive. Still not being able to find a job. What do I do now? I've never had to navigate, a social services site. So I think we're fortunate to have this role because it is very hard to navigate, to get help, as well as feeling supported during that time. So yes, I do see a slight increase with the stimulus check. I don't know if I'll see much more until that ends, but I know that it's going up with the people that are in need. Yes. So.
And there's a lot of pride in this town.
A lot of pride.
And, maybe a reluctance too to say, I need help. We're really at the bottom.
Right. And my services, I am. It's completely confidential. Everything, so in the situation where the code inspector gave the client my phone number, it's their choice to call me.
Okay.
So, and once they do, everything is completely confidential. If I was to pass information on for them for another organization that could help, maybe pay a bill, they have to give me their permission for me to pass that on, or I would give them a phone number and they would call on their own. So anybody reaching out to me, I really want to stress that it is fully confidential, and I hold myself to a very high standard. So it can be a conversation, it could be a reach out for help, but all that information stays with me in a locked file cabinet.
File cabinet. What part of your job is directly with seniors, Jennifer?
Well,
I guess what percent, I should say. Do you think is it more than under 60? Is it, or?
It's really hard for me to give you a specific number.
That's okay.
But I would say it's. I would probably say that right now it's about half and half.
Really?
Yeah. Yes. So it could be somebody that's in their late 50s, paddling along, trying to get through, and then they just can't pay a bill, or they just need support in another way. It could be like the woman who's way on the other spectrum, closer to her 90s, that just was alone and needed food, and she reached out to me, and I was able to help her with Meals on Wheels. So yeah, it varies. I wish I could give you a number, but I really can't.
How do people find you? I know that you're in the Senior Advisory Committee's directory that we put out last year.
Other ways, typically what happens is that people, if they don't know of me, if that means that if they haven't worked for me in the past, or they haven't worked with me in the past, usually it might be a situation where, like, the code inspector reached out, but mostly it's people going to their church, seeking support, and then since I'm under the Hudson Ministerial Association, then they would pass that information on to me.
Okay.
So it kind of looks like, here's all the churches, other outreach, EMS, and then they filter that person to me. But I hope that this show will bring more awareness to my role, because I am here for anybody. Hudson Ministerial Association specifically helps people that live, work, and worship in Hudson with a financial need. But I'm here for anybody, for anything. So if there's a need, I'm here. If you have a need, I'm here.
That is what I think we do need to get the word out about your job, and about, it's not, it can be an episodic event that's happening, or it can be just advice about something.
Yes.
A resource that you could give me to give to relatives about transportation, and it doesn't have to be a problem all the time. It can be a helpful resource. I wanted to ask you something, and this is a thing in my head. It seems like there are a lot of myths in this town, particularly about seniors. And I've seen that for years now. Whenever I've mentioned in certain groups or in public or in, various and sundry, a dinner party, about seniors using the food bank and seniors and the Are You OK program and needing resources. I get some of the responses like, well, I don't think so. I don't think there's anyone in this town who's in need. Truly, that is the kind of response. And I think that there truly is a myth about Hudson.
Yes.
And about, we all have money, we all have wonderful families, we all have great support, and we all fly to Palm Beach every winter. So incorrect. Have you faced that? I guess the reality of that, or the...
I have. And that is a myth. Most that I know of, a high percent of people don't fly to Florida. They also may not have family that live here any longer. And without having a senior center or specialized programs, I know that the Senior Advisory Committee is working very, very hard to put together programs, but there isn't any funding with that organization. And to make something great, you need money. So I do see that our senior citizens are kind of without any support. It's almost like, thank you for creating our beautiful town, our beautiful city, putting your blood, sweat, and tears into creating beautiful schools and standards, but now that you are toward the end of your life,
you're kind of invisible.
You're kind of on your own, and that's very sad. And we definitely need more awareness about our needs here. I have done research on other communities that have senior centers. Solon has a wonderful program. They have, and I'm pretty sure that it is run by the city, where they have a director. They have a full-time staff that their goal is to plan and work and create things for our seniors. Communication, transportation,
snow plowing.
It could be
raking.
come to the senior center and let's everyone get their flu shot. Building a community, and I feel that we really don't have that one place. It's kind of jumbled up. It's kind of word of mouth. If you need something, you ask around. If you have that. I've had several clients that are living independently on their own, and their kids are either extremely busy working full time, they don't have the time, or have moved away. And
yes, I have seen that too.
And I think it's very difficult when you are used to, maybe their friends have moved away and then they find themselves alone. Their friends might be in the same situation. Maybe they can't drive, so they can't always depend on friends or things like that. I mean,
Jennifer, I got to know a little bit a woman here in town in her mid-80s, and when we would talk on the telephone, she would talk to me about her younger years here in Hudson, when she was a young mother, and then when her children went to college, and how she had this group of friends. And every single month they did something. They'd go out for lunch, or they'd go shopping together, and then out to lunch. And now they're all moved away, or dead, or incapacitated in some way. And She has her husband's dead, her children are around.
Right.
But it's such a, it makes me, it makes me sad because I
Yes.
think we don't see further than happy mom, happy dad, bunch of kids, everything's wonderful in Hudson.
Right. And people are not moving out. You
No.
know, people are staying
No.
here. This is their home, and they need support. We give support to all other age groups.
Yes, we
and
do.
families.
Yes, we do,
We need
dear.
to take care of our aging community.
Boy,
as
you
well.
and I are like clones. Do you work with people who want to stay in their home instead of having to go to assisted living or whatever, even if there are some medical issues or dementia and so on? You can help with that sort of home health stuff?
Well, I can definitely refer them and provide them resources to help with that. You know, if they need someone to come in with in-home care,
Okay.
I would sign them up with other programs where, you know, like Are You Okay, for people to check in. But I am finding that, you know, we're living longer
Yeah.
out here, and and you know, people don't want to leave their homes. They don't want to go into a senior center or a nursing
Community,
home
right.
or senior community. You know, they want to stay within their home, and they have that right. And as a community, with, you know, we are very affluent, we should have the funding to support those people.
I agree completely. All right, now let's see. Home visits.
Yes.
Do you do them?
I do home visits. It's been, you know, with COVID, of course, it's a little difficult.
yes.
So, but, you know, I'm able to, I recently did a home visit, and I just stayed outside, talked to them. They were in their home, and I was
that's a
able
good
to do
idea.
that. Yeah, because if I'm going to sign them up for a program, I really would like to sit down with somebody or meet with them, and they'll go over the forms and explain specifics around whatever program I'm signing them up
Good.
for, so that they really understand and can ask questions.
Good, good. I wondered about the home visit. Well, hopefully they'll pick up and
Yeah.
you'll be able to do more when
Right.
when
Yes.
COVID ends. We're going to have your contact information here, Jennifer, so that people will have a phone number and they'll have your email address.
Yes.
You have you've been moving from office to office for a little bit, so
Yes.
you don't have a permanent spot right now. Is that correct?
Well, right now I'm located at the new City Hall. I do
Okay.
have an office there. I'm not sure how long I will be in that office, but I do have an office there, so people can meet me there, and then we can socially distance in one of the conference rooms.
Good.
So that's always an option. And then my telephone number is, and I have to look at it.
It will be on. It
Oh,
will be
okay.
on. You don't even need
Okay,
to say it. It
sure.
will be on the screen
Okay.
after at the end of the show. If you could give me 2 dreams and goals for you for this job for Hudson, what would they be?
Well, one of my biggest focuses is, you know, trying to bring all of the different organizations, all the different organizations here in town, that kind of are all working on the same thing. So
Amen.
So it would be best, and my goal is for us to work together instead of working separately. I think things get missed and people get confused. The one thing about our town is everything is named Hudson. So it is very confusing when speaking about what's what.
Isn't that true?
It is. It is. So I really would like to be able to bridge those gaps together and see how can we all work together. And so that's one of my biggest ones.
I think that the decentralization of senior stuff is a problem.
Yes.
This church has a meal program. This church has a blood pressure clinic twice
Right.
a year. This place offers, you know, something else, and nobody. And maybe I keep thinking if we ever get a senior center and a senior director,
Yes.
maybe we can start bringing all of those factors under one umbrella.
Wouldn't it be just wonderful if I was able to say, well, on Monday you can go to this church, and on Tuesday there's a program here,
Right.
or they're having a Zoom musical concert. It
Yes.
might be even something like that, where someone's saying, well,
Exactly.
hey, my mom just recently moved here. What do I do?
Exactly.
Hey, there's a musical program here. You can Zoom it. That would be my dream if I was able to just
Mine too.
work with everybody, so everyone knows what everyone's doing. So.
I volunteered in Twinsburg, and they have a phenomenal senior program.
Mm-hmm.
They offer free lunch every day.
Yes,
To
I've
people.
heard of that.
What a wonderful thing.
Right.
And then you get people out of their homes, and they are less isolative, and then they can play cards after
Right.
lunch, which many of them do.
Right.
It's we can do better.
Yes,
and
we can.
Hopefully we're on the way. Hopefully you'll be the change agent, Jennifer. I can't tell you enough how much I've enjoyed getting to know you, and what a good job you're doing.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you.
And that is it for today's North of 60. All of the contact information, Jennifer's phone number and email address will be written at the very end of this show, or you can contact me at northof60@gmail.com. I hope that's my email. I haven't used it in a little while. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you soon.